Hi everyone, with everything going on in the world right now, with the unrest in the United States and the Black Lives Matter movement, it's really hard to make a video. As a white person, I prefer not to talk on the subject and just learn and listen to what people of color have to say. So I will post a link in the description for petitions to sign and organizations to donate to if you want to support their actions. In this video, I want to talk about another very important issue, especially for my channel, which is the impact of COVID-19 on the incarcerated and their families. I will explain a little bit what COVID-19 changed, and then I will talk about my specific situation. The main thing with COVID and jails and prison is that the incarcerated are a super high risk population. In jail pods or prison dorm, there is absolutely no social distancing possible, and hygiene is extremely limited. In my opinion, when they decided to put everyone on lockdown, they should have quarantined the employees inside also. I'm thinking of my own job. With my job, we are all mandatory volunteers for shelter in case of a hurricane or any other catastrophe. And they don't care if you have something to deal with at home. You just have to be in the shelter, and it could last one day or it could last a week. And that's it. You just have to stay there. So I think maybe they should have considered that. I don't know if they did. I doubt that they did, because I'm sure none of them wanted to stay inside. But I think that's what should have happened in this very particular case. When we first heard that the pandemic came here, I mean the United States, there should have been no movement in or out of those facilities. And we would not see the number of positive cases that we have now and that are exploding everywhere. Also, I guess a little bit more people would have cared if the employee would have been stuck inside, because then maybe they would have wanted this to stop earlier and would have been taking, you know, the right precautions to stop this and get those numbers down as fast as possible. In some states, and that includes Florida, correctional officers can be as young as 18 years old. Here in Florida, the COVID-19 numbers are really bad. Of course, the governor would disagree with me. They keep finding explanations as to why they keep growing, but we have to chill. Actually, he even said that yes, the numbers are growing, but it's because we started testing prisoners. So of course, you know, prisoners, they live in a community, and so of course if you test someone there, then you are gonna have like 100 cases, positive cases there. So of course it makes our number grows, but it's just the prisoners, so it's like it doesn't really matter, or it doesn't even count, because what matters is what's going on outside. Well, at least that's how I understood it, and that was extremely offensive. The complete disregard for human life is insane in those people in power. Anyway, my point was that at the beginning of the confinement, we had a lot of issues here in Florida, because we have those young people that didn't really believe in this or didn't care, and so they were still going to beach parties and being in crowded bars and stuff like that. And I'm gonna bet some of those 18 years old CEOs might be part of that. Around the whole country, we have an aging incarcerated population, but especially in Florida, because here we have no parole, and people who have sentences like 20 to life or 40 to life, they just simply never ever get out. So it is very worrisome to have all those older people stuck in prison right now during a pandemic, and a lot of them already have underlying health conditions that are very poorly treated, like diabetes or cancer. We know that they're not getting the care that they need on a regular basis. So imagine during a pandemic. We are simply talking about an inhuman health situation. But there's more. Of course, visitation was suspended. It does make sense, and we all understand, and most of us do support the suspensions because we do worry about our loved one inside. But again, if the guards come and go, it doesn't make a big difference. Even though we understand and we try to be strong through it, we want people to understand that we are suffering and we have no end in sight for it. The last time most of us saw our family member was end of February, beginning of March, so it's already about 4 months. Imagine not being able to see the person that you love, whether they are your son or your partner, and knowing they're in danger inside. Also, try to explain to your kids why they can't go see their parent. I feel for the people who have kids between, I don't know, I guess 2 to 10 is probably the worst. Like, it's probably the harder time for a kid to be away from their parent and understand what is really going on. I think after that you can understand a little bit more. It doesn't make it easy, but you can understand it a little bit more. But as a kid, so young, I don't know. Like, I'm feeling for those moms. I'm feeling for those dads. I'm so sorry. So us incarcerated families, we were begging people on the outside to just stay home for everyone's safety, but also because prisons are going to be the very, 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 very last thing to reopen. So please, it still stands today. Stay home. Don't be selfish. See further than your own situation. If you don't want to think of helping prison families to reunite, think of children fighting life-threatening diseases in hospitals who can only have one parent with them. Both parents want to be there. The kid needs both parents. It's terrible for them too. I see everyone around me going back to their normal life. I don't see that many masks outside in public spaces. And I really feel that we are the forgotten ones of the epidemic. Now, because this is my channel, I'm going to talk about my own personal situation to give you an example of what this is doing to us. First, it's that time that JP, that is an institutional email provider, decided to change the way it works. You have to buy e-stamps. We used to buy e-stamps that we could use on any pen pal that we had in any state. For example, I had a pen pal in Washington, so I was buying my stamp there, which was $10 for 60 stamps. And I could also use those same stamps on my husband in Florida. But now JP decided that we need to buy e-stamps packages in each state we have a contact. And the prices are different in every state. So now, for my husband, I have to pay Florida $25 for 70 stamps. It's more than double what I was paying before. So of course, we had to drastically cut down the number of emails that we exchange, going from 2 to 3 a day each to maybe 1 a day. And on top of it, the service that used to work okay before is extremely slow right now. So sometimes it will take like 3-4 days to get an email. And for 3-4 days, I have no clue what's going on. We got days without hearing from each other, even if we write. And it's really harder for people on my security level because we don't get phone calls. So we usually get one 15-minute phone call a month. But the warden agreed to give us 2 phone calls a month during this craziness, which honestly is not enough. Because they don't have visitation, I don't see why it is so hard to just hand them the phone once a week so we can check on them, because this is another problem. We don't see them face to face. We don't know how they are doing because they can't really tell us everything they want to tell us in emails and letters, phone calls that are read or listened to. We need to know they're okay. You can tell a bit more by the tone and the voice, but nothing can replace visitation. So of course we are missing all our visits, like everyone else right now. We are also missing a lot of holidays, so we're missing extra visits. It's all that time that we are never gonna get back with a loved one. And if it stops now, we could say, okay, it was a tough 4 months, but it's over. But the problem is, it could be another 6 months like that, because no one cares, and no one is really trying to make it better. So it is extremely discouraging, it is extremely depressing. And for us, we missed a few other important dates. We missed our wedding anniversary in April. We missed my husband's birthday in May. We missed our first Mother's Day and Father's Day, and our first. And this is thing that we will never get back either. Like that's gone, that's done. It's very sad. But of course the worst part is the baby. The baby was 6 weeks the last time my husband saw him, and he is now 5 months. Again, I don't know when we're gonna be able to visit again, especially that there is a lot of gossips about how visitation is going to change, and that children might not be allowed and people over 65 would not be allowed. And you know what, that would mean no one can go, because people who are inside, they have their parents and they're over 65, and then they have their families, their wives. Okay, the wives can come, but they have kids, and so the wife can't bring the kids. So what is she gonna do now? Have the kids being taken care of by someone else every other month so she could squeeze a visit there? Or they talk about shorter visit. People are driving hours driving hours. If you do like an hour or 2 hours visit, like, is it worth it? They talk about non-contact. Of course it's gonna be non-contact, or they call that physical distancing. Okay. I can't picture not seeing my husband for like 6-7 months and not being able to hug him when I see him, to say hi. That's one thing. But for me, I can't even picture, if I can bring my kid, that my husband can't hold our son at all, can't touch him after all that time that he missed. I mean, you saw my baby the last time. I'm gonna go pick him up. I'm gonna show you how he is now, and imagine everything that my husband missed in the meantime. This is awful. And we unfortunately have a baby that has some health issues, and it's really hard to first handle everything by myself without my husband's support, because again, a means of communication I feel tempered right now, and I can't even imagine how heartbreaking it is for him inside. Visits are everything they have. They're dealing with the stupid rules because they have visit, so they act whatever they tell them to act so they don't lose the visits. They do it right, and they don't have the visit right now. There is no incentive, and it's depressing. Someone committed suicide last week in my husband's prison. which of course I can't say it's because of what is going on right now, but being cut from his family with a lot of things going on in their life was super hard. It's just an incredibly cruel situation. And I was talking about kids between 2 and 10 earlier, and I guess my salvation is that my baby, because he's only 5 months, because he was very sick when we were visiting at first, he was very weak and sleeping a lot, so he was not that much aware, I think, of what was going on. I guess he doesn't even know he has a dad. He probably doesn't even know what a dad is, so he's fine. He's not missing him. So I guess I have that. But on the other hand, how sad it is that he doesn't know he has a dad, when his dad wants to love him and be him for him and like really raise him as much as possible, even from behind bars. Well, I think I've said my piece. I just want people to remember us and please try to make our situation better. And I hope we're gonna be able to see each other very soon. I hope if you're someone in a similar situation, you are very well supported. That's another thing, is that I am alone here in the United States. I'm not alone because I have his family and some friends, though I don't have like many friends here. So I'm still pretty much alone, which I don't mind because I'm a very independent person. But my mom came here, so lucky she came here, and she did get stuck here a little bit, but she was able to spend almost 3 months with our grandson, and it was just so sweet to see them together. And you know what, she had to leave, she was heartbroken, and I think I was really sad too, like, and I could see them bond and I could see them love each other, and she was the most patient with them and they were laughing all the time. It was just so cute. And now she might not see him for another year just because she lives far away, and maybe even more because of that pandemic stuff. You know, I'm only here for my visit, so if I don't have my visit, I'm like, why am I not in my country with my family? Because I know my sister would like to know my kid, and he has a cousin that would like to know. They want to hold him, they want to see him, and I would like to be with them because I'm not here with my husband. So you know, it's very frustrating. And again, we understand the visitation had to be suspended, but if no one else cares, at least here people really don't take COVID-19 seriously. I think most people don't even think it's real. They're gonna bring a convention here in August, the Republican, like it's gonna be insane. Like, we have cases just raising and raising and raising. Every day we beat the record of yesterday in the number of new cases. But hey, let's bring that convention in August. 15,000 people out of states that bring the disease from everywhere. And let's, I don't know, I'm in disbelief. The only thing I hope is that it's going to be a lot of people from out of state, really, and that they're gonna go back to their own state with that virus, but then they're gonna spread it there. So it's a never-ending thing, because people are so selfish. I'm gonna be rambling now if I go on, so I'm gonna pick up my kid because I think it is time. So I see you in the next video, and maybe I'll just pop in to show you my little buddy. Bye. So here's my little guy. He changed a lot since last time. Look at him. That's a little boy now. Where's my baby? Where's my baby? Is that you?